This guy has gained millions of followers online and has built himself a brand that is generating him multiple seven figures with inner child healing coaching. So if you're an online coach, consultant, or therapist, then you've probably wondered what other online coaches, consultants, and therapists do to gain more exposure, convert more of their clients, and actually attract the right types of people who they would like to work with and have the money. So in this series, I'm analyzing people who have done it before, who have gained millions of followers and have generated hundreds of thousands of dollars online with their coaching business. In this video, I'll be analyzing Brian Yang's content system and funnel. It's a very unusual funnel actually, because although most people rely on long-form content to nurture their leads, he is mostly relying on email lists, school communities, and DM lists, which is my favorite and the most unusual one. So stick around to find out everything in detail what he's doing and possibly take away the best pieces for your business specifically. Alright, let's get started. As you can see, we have quite a bit to cover, so I promise I'll yap as little as possible. This is a lead nurture masterclass and how Brian Yang makes multiple seven figures with inner child healing coaching. And this is also an unusual case study on how to get complete strangers to trust you without tedious DM conversations or hour-long YouTube videos. This is Brian over here. He is Awakening with Brian on most of his social media. But before we even get into the traffic, nurture, and conversion parts of this video, let's just dive a little bit into why you should even watch this video in the first place. Why not just click off right now? It's because me and my company, High Day Media, we have worked with some of the biggest names in this niche specifically. For example, Naj over here, who is focused on healing attachment styles. He's a licensed psychotherapist with over 10,000 followers. Or we have Brian Comstock over here, who is also focused on trauma healing, but more specifically for people who have endured trauma from narcissistic abuse. So with that being said, if you feel like now the video is worth watching, then please stick around. If not, I'm good with it. I've already cried today twice, so I have no more tears in me left and my eyes are dried out. But let's first analyze the traffic system. So in this video, there will be three main parts of everything: the traffic, the nurture, and then the conversion system of Brian Yang. The traffic will be mostly about content, the nurture mostly about his email lists and DM lists. So that is something that I've already mentioned. And then the conversion will be about his qualification form and how he actually gets not only educated, qualified, but also ready to buy prospects to hop on sales calls and close more deals. So let's start with his content system. First of all, Brian has an incredibly genius content framing. First, he identifies the ICP bubble, which, if you don't know, that is the bubble that your ideal client profile lives in. This is their worldviews, Instagram feed, habits, tastes, family status. So it's not enough to know about their demographics. You also have to know in what sort of world they live in, where they look for information, where they scroll on Instagram, and stuff like that. Once you've identified that, then Brian actually chooses the dominating perspective for each and every video that he makes. He has three main content types. First one is the inside out, then the outside in, and then the objective / general one. So in the inside out one, the main benefit of this is that it's good to incentivize personal transformation and get the right people to show up, because these are actually people who want to change their own life. This is represented by this illustration over here. So it's a way to introspect for someone. Here are a couple of examples so that you can get a better picture of everything. For example, this is one where if you can't stop obsessing over someone, then you XYZ. So this is an introspective hook, because you are talking about what's happening inside of a person, and this is a very good base to jump from if you want to persuade them to actually start in their current state and then get to their desired state, because then you can more clearly outline their problems that they're having. You can shed light on the things that are not going well in their life, so that you can actually help them fix those things. For example, the second one over here would be this video where he is talking to men who suppress their needs. But the verbal hook, what you will see, is actually a general verbal hook, but that, in my perspective, is for easier digestibility, so that you don't feel attacked by the video. So nevertheless, as you can see in the title, it's still calling out, do you suppress express your needs. So it's evident that he's talking to men about men. It's whenever you are talking about a person to the same type of person that you're talking about, that's the inside out perspective. This will be very relatable for a lot of people, but also a little bit hard to accept for some people who are not that self-aware. So in the B column, you can see the outside in. This one is beneficial to get people to relate. And this is better for the law of big numbers, because this doesn't really allow for much introspection. You are describing a type of person from the outside, which means that you will practically be speaking to a person who is not that type of person, but someone who has dealt with that type of person. So for example, let's take this as an example. Your spouse or partner cannot reject you. So this means that this video is actually an outside-in perspective, which means that you are looking at your partner and it's projective. That means that it's easier to digest for the person watching the video, as they don't feel attacked, and they can feel like it's sort of like a gossip session. Then you have this video. Do you have a partner that's hard to love? Obviously, very provocative, and a lot of people do have this feeling because evidently you will always be more likely to see flaws in other people than yourself. So this is the psychological rule that the outside-in perspective is actually based on fully. Then the third video is a person with an avoidant attachment style does not have the upper hand. This is a very surprising bit because a lot of people might assume that this is made for avoidantly attached people. However, as we have noticed with our client, for example, Nash, who is also focused on attachment styles, this video actually not only speaks to, but also attracts anxiously attached people who deal with avoidantly attached people. And the third type, the third perspective that Brian can use is the C, which is the objective, the general perspective. This is amazing to show your expertise and make it easier to digest the information, because this is sort of like writing a book about a certain topic without any emotional, involvement. However, if done wrong, then this can be just reciting information without actually helping the person watching the video, and that will make it less likely that they end up converting. So let's take this video as an example. A woman wounded by her father. So this is a general description of a woman wounded by her father. And these types of videos have to be intertwined with personal stories, personal anecdotes, or emotional framings that are nevertheless speaking to someone. So either they should be speaking to someone who is observing, for example, a woman wounded by her father, or it should be inclusive of emotional cues that make it easier for a woman who has actually been wounded by her father to relate. So this means that when they start watching the video, they only see a general hook, a general description, but once they actually watch the video in full, they start to relate. They start to get closer to not only Brian, but also the topic. And they start to realize that this is something that they are dealing with. So, and this video, this example is, they don't tell you this about relationships. So in this particular video, he brings personal anecdotes, personal emotions that drive people to actually feel spoken to by the video, even though the hook, the general, dominating perspective, as we've outlined over here, it starts with the objective / general. So in reality, how you have to perceive these three is that the inside out and the outside in can stay as they are. You can always just talk to the person from the inside. So about a type of person to a type of person, to the same type of person. The outside in would be about a type of person to the opposite type of person, or just an outsider. And then the objective in general should be one that you are very careful about, and not only reciting information from a textbook, but you are actually connecting the dots for people. You are connecting the dots between their feelings and textbook literature and, this objective and general things. So this is incredibly important that you keep this in mind and you don't mess up the third one. Otherwise, you cannot really take away anything from Brian Brian's content because you will just be reciting textbook material. Having went over the traffic part of things, let's look at the nurture part, because this is where it gets interesting. So first of all, Brian has multiple traffic sources. He has traffic from YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. As you'll see, most of his bio links actually lead to the same place, which is his newsletter subscription over here, so this one. So this means that from YouTube, from Facebook, from TikTok, and from Instagram, all of the people taking a look at his bio get led to this particular page. From here, once you sign up, they are led to the VSL for his coaching, for his products, and stuff like that. The VSL structure is a very common one, but one that works perfectly well and is amazing for this purpose. So first of all, he starts out with the email list, why it exists and what he will be sending people. Then he is describing his unique healing system, the SIBS system, which builds hype and also creates a price anchor, because he's calling out his own experience, how much money he has spent on his own healing, which is more than $250,000. So that is just an insane price anchor right at the beginning. This is the promise part of the video. Then he's doing a pain call out by actually mentioning his own backstory. Then an ICP call out again, who this is actually for. So actually just describing who should continue watching the video and who is just simply not qualified to take the next steps. Then he is talking about the proof of things. The proof is that he has went through this process himself, and also that he has authority because he has been guiding a lot of clients, countless clients, through the whole process himself. Now, the proof part is probably the main part of this video, because he has so many testimonials included in this one VSL that people watching this video will not only be educated, qualified, but also ready to buy, as they see that this works for multiple people. This is not a one-time thing. Then after the authority, he actually outlines the three next steps, which is a plan. So he uses the framework of the 3 Ps, which is taken from Alex Hormozi, but it starts with the promise, then the proof, and then you give a plan. So first of all, what they get from the video, what the proof is that they will get this value from the video, and what the plan is. This is something similar what I did in this video, by the way, because I've given you a promise in this headline, then I've led you to a proof and show you who we have worked with already, so why you should even watch this video. And then there was a plan in me going through the traffic, nurture, and conversion things of what I will be analyzing in this video. So heading back to the VSL, you can see that these 3 steps, are the school community, which you will gain access to once you receive the first email. Then the SIBS healing system, which you will get more information about and learn more about, so that you can actually make progress in your healing. And then a third is the CTA, to get nurtured, sort of, before even booking a call. So he's actually calling out people for not just booking a call, but also being educated about everything, so that whenever they get on a call, they are not only qualified, but also ready to buy and educated about the topic. This is incredibly important if you have millions of followers. If you have a little bit of a smaller following, this looks a little bit differently, because you wouldn't introduce that many hoops people have to jump through. But for him, for this millions of followers, it works perfectly fine. And this is followed by testimonials. Here in the testimonials, people are saying why this is different, why they were surprised by the program, and what they have tried already and what hasn't worked before. So, for example, talk therapy has not worked for a lot of people, and meditation. So they were looking for something new, and this was that unique mechanism. This was that extra thing that could work, even if you've been struggling for years. Then following this is a clear CTA call to action and an agenda for the next steps that people have to take. So why does this VSL actually work? It works because it introduces the element of patience, because you know that people first have to know, like, and trust you before they buy from you. So it's extremely patient of Brian to actually just tell them that, hey, don't book a call just yet. only if you are educated and want to make the next steps right away. So, and also the testimonials, that's an incredible element. A lot of people don't realize that they can just do this, that they have a VSL with testimonials included. And then it also is based on the promise or proof plan framework, which is which then clearly outlines what the person gets, why they should get it, and why it's true that they will actually get it. And then they have clear next steps so that they know exactly, don't have to think, they know what to do next. Now, just a little bit of an overview of the landing page. You can see it's just a quick questions, a frequently asked questions part, and then the success stories, which builds even more know, like, and trust, as we have seen above. So from here, people are actually led straight to the qualification form, which we'll get to in a bit. But before we do just that, let's take a look at his email list. So from this opt-in page, people get directed to the email list, which means that they get a welcome email. In this welcome email, he's promoting a webinar, as you can see in this screenshot over here. And in this webinar, he uses the exact same VSL structure as he does in this video. He also plays the testimonials, so it's essentially the same video, so more or less it's the same video, but this one is a bit longer, goes more into the weeds of things, and actually has a presentation which allows Brian to give people an idea, illustrate a couple of ideas, and let them understand even better. So these are just two assets that he had to make, but now already people are exposed to his content on two different platforms. So first on his website, and then second in his emails. And those are already two touch points. From there, people are already directed to the qualification form again. But that's not the only way that you can get added to the email list. Because if you go to Instagram and you go to the Reels, you go to, for example, this post. This post has the call to action blueprint, which means you should comment the word blueprint, as I've done over here, as you can see. And then you will be led to his DMs, where you get, first of all, a couple of welcome messages. And in these welcome messages, let me just show you very quickly, you get first added to the email list, by him asking your name and your email. And from there, you can go to the email list again, where you will be nurtured once more. And as the next step, you will also be added to the free masterclass, which we have already went over once over here. So there are essentially two ways to get to the same flow and get to this masterclass. And if that wasn't enough, then Brian also has a DM list, a VIP healing list. Join my VIP DM list here, you can see. Obviously, I opted in. And from there, you get added to the DM list, which introduces 7-11-4 framework. The 7-11-4 framework is a famous study in the content creation niche, because it says that a person, before they buy, on average, they watch 7 hours of content on 11 touch points on at least 4 platforms. What does that even mean? So, for example, a story post is 1 touch point, a reel is 1 touch point, then a DM is another touch point, then an email is another touch point, then his landing page is another touch point. So you can see that they gather up very, very quickly. So, and by introducing the fact that he has these long form webinars, that he has these long form things and reels as well, he can very quickly get up to the 7 hours of content watched. And then the 4 platforms is evident. First, you have the Instagram, then you have the website, then you have the Gmail, and then obviously you also have a couple other things that we have not yet gotten to. But from the VIP DM list, people actually, get updates from Brian's Instagram personally. And why is this amazing? This is amazing because it has an increased engagement, and the increased deliverability actually allows people to watch it more often than if they would just receive a normal email over there. So you can see over there, you can just read it yourself. But he starts it out by, David, does this sound familiar? By the way, great hook. Then, he's talking about the healing journey and how you can take the next steps. What that one question is that you have to answer to yourself in order to, make the progress. And he ends the first sequence with a hook. So he doesn't just start with a hook, as you can see over here, that's the first hook, but he also ends with a hook, which is what happens next is where the real magic happens, which I'll explain tomorrow. And then from there, again, you will probably get, I don't know exactly, but you will probably get redirected to the same actual qualification form, because this is the part where conversion happens. This is the part where he gets people to book calls with him and actually on the back and then collect the cash. So one thing that we still have to go over is actually his school community, which is also an immense nurture element. You get added to the school community if you opt in, for example, on this DM flow. So his school community is actually free, but it includes a price anchor of $750 per month if you just try to join by yourself. So it's an invite-only free community, which means that it's free for people who know, like, and trust him already. That means for people who have opted into his email list or his DM list. It's not free for everyone, only people who have watched him on other platforms. Why is this amazing? Because then he can ensure that there is a higher chance of conversion and less unqualified conversations in the school community, because he knows for sure that people who join for free, who have watched his content, know of him, and didn't just join the community just like that. This is also a strategy that I recommend using for people who have a lot of followers. If you just have a couple of thousand or a couple of tens of thousands, then it's probably not the best step for you. But from here, you can also see that in the school community, he is promoting his success stories so that his leads actually get to know, like, and trust him even more. With a couple of the other courses extended, this is an incredibly powerful thing that he can do, because he also has a basic level course in there, which is essentially an objection handling course, and makes people believe that his program works that much better. Now, I have already mentioned this a couple of times, which is the qualification form, which is amazing. It's very unusual to have this long of a qualification form, but apparently it works so well for him that he is still using it. So there are a couple of main elements that I want you to know about. First one is the framing. So that is actually how he frames the product, how he frames his service, how he frames the qualification form itself. The second is the price anchors. Those are the price anchors that he mentions so that people know that this is a valuable product, that they associate a high price with this, because someone has gone through the trouble of gaining this information and has already spent hundreds of thousands of dollars themselves on their healing, so that whenever they get on a sales call, they will be more likely to close on a deal that is worth thousands of dollars. And then the third one is the extracting pain and urgency, which will not only make the sales calls shorter, but it will also make them easier, because people hop on the sales calls just wanting to make a transaction, essentially. So from the framing standpoint, he starts with the pre-framing. You can, by the way, if you just go to his Instagram and do the whole thing, then you can get to this form. So first, he starts with a pre-framing, with that this inner work is not for everyone. This is for a certain type of person who is ready to make the transformation. Then very basic contact info, then a confirmation of the contact info. This is also incredibly important to confirm. So if this is not correct, then this will be rejected, this application. Then he continues with a pre-framing, which is essentially describing his transformational mentorship, selling his transformational mentorship, what it actually means, what it actually will result in their life. Then he actually follows this by financial qualification 1, which is defining their current occupation and how long they have been doing it, so that they can, grasp back on this on the sales call. It can be made a lot easier. So you will see that whenever someone gets on a sales call, you already know what to talk about. You don't have to extract the pain, waste 10 or 50 minutes doing that, because they have already qualified this person from there. Then the next step is actually extracting the pain, what they want to focus on. So you can see he has a couple of options there. And the priority, so how important this problem is to the person. You can see here that if it's not at least a 4, then this mentorship is not a fit for you, as it will challenge your deepest fears, coping mechanisms, and traumas. So he's setting them up for success by telling them that this is a hard process that have to be committed. This means that when people click further here, they will actually be more likely to pay and also pay more likely to convert and pay more, because they are already committed. They feel like they are verbally giving their permission to actually, close them. Then the next one is the price, anger, and value stack, which is also a framing technique and also a price anchor, because he is mentioning how much over $300,000 he has spent on his own inner work journey, which is amazing. But then again, when you are prompted with this sort of number, then you start to think, oh wow, is this valuable? I did not even realize. Because if someone has only spent a couple $100s on therapy before, then this number will shock them. And this is amazing, because then whenever they get on the sales call and the salesperson asks $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 of them, then they will be relieved, because they thought that it was multiple tens of thousands, because that's how much he could be charging for it. So from there, he is actually making a know, like, and trust temp check and qualifying his prospects that way. Then again, he is extracting the main objection that people could have, which is, what is your biggest fear or block doing this work? Please be as detailed as possible, as this will help determining your eligibility for this mentorship. And here people will say that I have no fear, I have no block. So on the sales call, you can, whenever, they bring up something that they have just made up on the spot because they get cold feet, then you can call them out on this, that, by the way, you just mentioned you had no block. Is that true still, or has something changed? And then, they will say, oh yeah, you're right. Well, yeah, I'm guessing XYZ, and then they will give you their real reason why they did not want to put the next step forward, and then you can, handle that objection from there. So this is then followed by another price anchor, which is if you are this one-on-one client by minimum 50K, then you'll be like, wow, there are people who are spending $50,000 of their inner work journey. I can't do that, but amazing. What is that even? So if you are that type of person, then obviously you get to submit, and they will be probably calling you or emailing you from there. But if you are not that type of person, you will still be impressed that this is that valuable. And then you are asked for the location. Evidently, you don't want to take everyone. So, for example, people from India may not be in the right time zone, might not have the money. So stuff like that should be sorted out in these type forms. And then from there, you will see that people are prompted with a testimonial, another financial check, whether or not, they are able to use these softwares over there, so Affirm, Afterpay, or Klarna. And then if you qualify, then you are led to scheduling. And then this scheduling link, if you have not booked but submitted the form, which I have done, then you actually get an email to, them asking you to actually sharing your top concerns so that they can book you in on another call. But if you have booked, then evidently you are led to their mid and high ticket offers, into their school community, in their self-mastery course. And they are only taking, so Brian and his team are only taking calls that are financially qualified, educated, and ready to buy. So if you've ever struggled with any of these, then this is the system that you should take inspiration from. This is the system that gets you millions of views in traffic. This is the exact system that gets you all of those people nurtured, and this is the exact system that gets you not only financially qualified, but also educated and ready to buy, committed people to hop on calls. So if you've liked this video and you found anything new that inspired you to make the next steps in your business and actually get to the same level as Brian, then go to our website below and book a call, and I'll be looking forward to meeting you there, going over your system, your client acquisition. Don't worry, it's not a hard sell. We are just reviewing a couple of things that you could possibly do better, how to optimize it, what sort of things would make sense for you, what other things would just be a waste of time. So if that would be interesting for you, then book a call below, and I'll see you there. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a nice day. Bye bye.